Good evening, it's time for the news right here on Times Television, TTV, and you're with me, Ronald Mpaso. First, the headlines. State House says President Lazarus Chakwera will not publicize contents of the public sector reforms report. Malawi Electoral Commission calls for integrity from those who manage the forthcoming by-elections. And bail ruling reserved for 5 Mapeto David Whitehead officials who were arrested over tax evasion allegations. We have these and other stories. Stay with us. In our top story, President Lazarus Chakwera will not publicize contents of the recommendations report by a task force mandated to overhaul the government system by arresting the wastage of public resources through allowances, procurement and employment contracts, State House said today. Vice President Saulos Chilima, in his capacity as Minister of Public Sector Reforms, presented the report to Chakwera during a closed-door meeting at Kamuzu Palace in the capital. More in this report.
Since Vice President Saulos Chilima and his task force presented the report to President Lazarus Chakwera, they have been caused by various quarters for Chakwera to make the report public. Among others, the Human Rights Defenders Coalition on Friday expressed worry over the secrecy surrounding the report, but briefing reporters during a State House weekly briefing on Monday, State House Director of Communications Sean Kampondeni said Chakwera would tell Malawians the decision that he would make from the recommendations of the task force. Kampondeni said the President receives a number of recommendations from various stakeholders, adding that it will not be in order to publicize each and every recommendation that the President gets.
The President received Vice President Dr. Saulos Chilima at Kamuzu Palace, together with the task force that the Vice President had put together in order to hear a presentation of the report of recommendations. Now, there has been some cause by certain quarters for the recommendations to be made public. And the position of State House on this matter is that the thing that is of public interest are the decisions that the administration makes using those recommendations. The President receives recommendations every day, and it is not the President's practice to put recommendations in the public when they haven't been vetted and used to make decisions. The thing that the President is interested in putting in the public are the decisions that he makes in order to transform the public service in partnership with the Minister of Public Sector Reform, Right Honorable Dr. Saulos Chilima.
Speaking on February 14 this year, President Lazarus Chakwera said if Malawi were to root out problems of waste, abuse and theft of public resources, the country needed to admit that these behaviors that have poisoned the values of the nation have corroded the entire government system. He then ordered Chilima to review the government system and submit recommendations for overhauling the civil service within 3 months.
The Malawi Electoral Commission has asked its members of staff and those that have been hired temporarily to manage the June 29 by-elections to adhere to the law and remain professional. The Commission has said running an election is sensitive and requires seriousness, adding that the past mistakes have been a lesson to the Commission. From Zuzu, Sam Kalimira has a report.
MEC Commissioner Anthony Nkumbwa said this during the official opening of training for biometric voter registration kit operators who have been deployed for voters verification exercise in Nkatabe Central constituency. Mukumba said once the operators mess up with the electoral process, commissioners become the victims, making reference to the Supreme Court ruling on the 2019 elections case.
Being professional, they're not doing work credibly. It's the commission which is not. And so we as commissioners, we're making sure that they understand the critical role that they're playing as operators in this case. Okay, that whatever they do, they're doing it on not their own behalf. They're doing it on the behalf of the commission. And therefore their conduct is the commission's conduct. Their professionalism is the commission's professionalism. And so they must ensure that whatever they do, they're doing it as an agent for us, as representing us, and they must do it well.
The commissioner then asked people to go and verify their names once registration exercise starts on Wednesday, emphasizing that MEC will not hold fresh registration in Nkatabe Central constituency. The constituency fell vacant after the Supreme Court recently nullified the 2019 parliamentary elections over irregularities. The annulled elections declared Democratic Progressive Party's DPP candidate Simon Vuwa Kaunda. 6 candidates competed during the 2019 parliamentary elections, 2 of which Justice Banda of UTM and Jole Nyimba of Malawi Congress Party had openly said will not contest in the elections. According to MEC data, 17,684 people registered in the 2019 elections, and the constituency has 19 polling centers.
Senior Resident Magistrate Akia Mwanyongo has reserved a bail ruling for the 5 Mapeto David Whitehead officials who were arrested yesterday on tax evasion charges. Senior Resident Magistrate Akia Mwanyongo says he needs more time to reflect on arguments from both sides. Jameson Chaluka has the story.
The 5 are Faizo Gafar Latif, Muhammad Gafar, Abdurrashid Bakari, Yasin Muhammad and Martin Impata. Latif, who is the company's director, handed himself over to MRA on Sunday, but the rest were arrested on Friday. Their lawyer, Jai Banda, informed the court that the 5 deny all the charges leveled against them. Making the case for bail of his clients, Banda assured the court that the 5 are law-abiding citizens who will not jump bail, arguing that Latif, for example, presented himself to the MRA officers. He also said 3 of the accused are over 60 years and there is a higher risk of health problems in a police cell. MRA's lawyer Anthony Chungu objected to the application, saying it was premature. Beatrice Mangwale explains.
Our main argument was that the application for bail was brought a bit prematurely because the state is still within the 48-hour period within which we're supposed to bring all the accused persons before the court to be dealt with according to law as is required under the Constitution, which grants certain rights to accused persons. So we thought the application was a bit premature because the state was still in the process of complying with those obligations under the Constitution.
Speaking in an area interview, MRA spokesperson Stephen Kapoloma said the 5 are answering 3 offences bordering on tax evasion.
National AIDS Commission has warned religious leaders and traditional healers against stopping people living with HIV from taking antiretroviral drugs. The Commission warns that the practice is a crime and is contributing to the rise in default rates. The HIV Prevention and Management Act of 2018 criminalizes claims that some people can cure HIV/AIDS. Patience Lunda has a report.
National AIDS Commission HIV Prevention and Management Officer Betha Sado says the Commission has been receiving numerous reports of antiretroviral therapy ART defaulters on advice from traditional healers or prophets. Sado says the Commission has been asking people who claim to have the cure of HIV and AIDS to open up to the Commission and have their medicine tested, but no one has come out this far to prove their claims.
If anyone has stood, including pastors, has stood on a pulpit to say that I have healed you, that person has wronged the laws of Malawi and can be arrested and prosecuted in the courts of law.
Currently, NAC is working with the Malawi Interfaith Alliance to sensitize all pastors and prophets in the country on the impact of their pieces of advice on HIV and AIDS. NAC is also conducting an assessment to find out the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to people living with HIV and AIDS. On his part, Mzusile Council HIV and AIDS coordinator Augustine Gama said the advent of COVID-19 has had adverse impact of people with HIV and AIDS, especially those that have defaulted from taking the life-prolonging drugs.
The advent of COVID-19 has had adverse effects on the fight of HIV/AIDS. We are hopeful that there has also been enacted a law, HIV/AIDS law. That is also a good guiding tool for HIV/AIDS fight in Malawi.
National AIDS Commission is a public trust that provides overall leadership and coordination of the national response to HIV and AIDS.
Minister of Tourism and Culture, Michael Usi, has called on Malawians and all Africans to jealously guard their culture. Usi says culture binds people together and is essential for national development. The minister was speaking in Lilongwe yesterday during an event marking this year's Africa Day. Matthews Kasanda has the details.
The day also marked 63 years since the African Union AU was formed. Usi explained that the African culture promotes hard-working spirit and respect for one another. He therefore challenged every individual to be part of preserving culture regardless of education level.
When we look at our culture, you see a lot of value. For example, our culture tells us to work hard and not be lazy. Our culture teaches us to be respectful and not be disrespectful. Our culture expects us to respect elders, and by respecting elders, we are acquiring skills for development. So today is a reflection of our culture, a review of what we have done to preserve our culture. So it's about Malawi's culture and African culture today.
AU Permanent Representative David Pierre said the day should be used by Africans to reflect on the successes of the AU.
We are commemorating the birth of the Organization of African Unity, which is now the African Union. Now, we have to remember that the OAU has fought hard against colonialism and against apartheid. The OAU has done for Africa proud. They have done Africa proud. Now, today, we need to reflect on that. We also need to reflect on the culture of Africa. What is our identity? What is it that we need to do for us to ensure that our culture does not die?
The commemoration was held at Chingali Culture Center in Lilongwe.
Deputy Minister of Education Madali Tsokambaua Wirima has announced plans by the government to introduce a diploma in primary education program. Wirima says this is one way of improving primary education in the country. She made the announcement during the launch of a diploma in primary education program at Emmanuel University in Lilongwe under the Evangelical Association of Malawi. She explains.
If you listened attentively to my speech, I also did allude to the fact that they have gone ahead of the government, of the Ministry of Education, to start awarding diplomas for the teachers. But soon the ministry is also going to follow suit. So the plans are already underway, and they are at an advanced stage. Soon, if you're going to be following events, you being a journalist, you're going to be hearing soon from us that we are also started offering diplomas for our teachers.
And Emmanuel University Council Chairperson Reverend Davidson Chifungo says 100 students have already enrolled for the program.
So we have jumped in at the primary school level to offer diplomas so that the teachers that are teaching at primary school have diplomas, they are well educated, and then they will train and teach our children in a way that is promoting higher education, so that by the time they go to high school, go to university, they have had a wonderful foundation. The mistake that we made previously was to start with higher education, well developed, but then the ECDs and the primary school is not well furnished with properly trained teachers. So we have jumped in to provide that.
You're watching the news on Times Television, TTV. We now take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Tipolole kungonjezera mayunits ati ene mkuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tipolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera mayunits ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira mabonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
Narero, tapaniko ni ndalama pa ATM opanda ATM card. Just dial *247# and select Quick Cash. Standard Bank, it can be.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Welcome back. Save the Children, in partnership with UNICEF, today supported Malawi government with a 10.8 million kwacha food and non-food donation for children who are being reintegrated from child care institutions to their homes during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thomas Kachere has details in this report.
Senior Technical Advisor for Child Protection and Child Rights Governance for Save the Children, Tandizoratu Kadzamira, said some of the personal protective equipment's PPEs are for social workers from child care institutions and government.
As you remember, there were measures to decongest all places which were crowded, and this also affected the child care institutions. So this project has been funded by UNICEF in collaboration with Save the Children. So there's a contribution which is 20% is from Save the Children, but 80% is from UNICEF. So actually it came as a humanitarian emergency to support those children who were affected during COVID. And basically it's a process
On behalf of government, Blantyre District Social Welfare Stefano Joseph commended Save the Children for the gesture, adding it will assist children with their basic needs.
One of the key measures that was put in place, especially concerning the ministry, apart from the traditional measures that are put by the Minister of Health, was that our childcare institutions, we should ensure that children should be decongested. And many children really went home without following the process, because we have the process called reintegration, which follows a series of steps. But at that time, because of it was an emergency, children went back to their respective homes. Now, this process really required us to come back and really correct that by ensuring that we have done all the processes, which include assessment, family tracing, reunification, as well as all other processes. So this support is one of the key supports that is there to support the children to ensure that they are properly reintegrated back in their respective communities.
The donation, which includes basic needs like flour, sugar, cooking oil, soap, salt, sanitary pads and blankets, targets Blantyre and Lilongwe social welfare offices and was made through Blantyre District Social Welfare Office. Save the Children is running a 6-month project worth more than 71 million kwacha.
The first phase of the Malawi Law Society complex, which is being constructed in Blantyre, has been completed. The phase included the clearing of the site earmarked for construction of the block, construction of a brick fence around the place, and building a guard room. More in this report by Justin Mkweu.
Speaking during the handover ceremony of the first phase in Blantyre, MLOS President Patrick Mpaka expressed satisfaction with the progress of the work. Mpaka added that they will soon be moving to other phases of the project so that it is completed within a short period.
It's a milestone, as I was saying in my speech there. You know, Law Society has been around. It's a very prominent organization. I think it's high time it gets its own infrastructure in place, and we have done the first phase of the project. It's a huge milestone. Our plan is to quickly go to the next phase. The decision is there. We'll look at the funds, but our intention is to continue, as you heard from the contractor. If we have someone around here, it also enhances security. But so our plan is to do it progressively, stage by stage, until we are done.
Win Construction Managing Director Win Witika said it is encouraging to see local Malawians embarking on projects that will contribute to infrastructure development.
When I heard that Malawi Law Society have put up their resources together and they want to start putting up a building in the city, I was saying, wow, that's something else. How did they get money? By simply, forming a cooperative, putting their money, resources together and say, let's build our own house, let's build our own thing. That's the beginning, and that's what most of the people, even outside the country, collectively, they build stuff themselves.
Once the building, which will cost approximately 2 billion kwacha, is complete, it will consist of MLS offices, a library, and hostels, among others.
And Lilongwe Muslim Youth Charity yesterday donated a total of 23 wheelchairs to Kamuzu Central Hospital and Bwaira Hospital in Lilongwe. 13 of the wheelchairs will go to the Central Hospital, while the other 10 will go to Bwaira. Taonga Sabola has details in this report.
Speaking at the Kamuzu Central Hospital when they donated the wheelchairs, Lilongwe Muslim Youth Charity Executive Member Taha Ukra said his organization is committed to working with government in helping to improve health service delivery in the country.
We just had an idea, and we do these projects from now and then, So this was a project that we took up 2-3 months ago, and fortunately we are now distributing these wheelchairs. We know that our institutes are overwhelmed, and here we are trying to help.
And Kamuzu Central Hospital Principal Nursing Officer Joyce Beamu thanked the Lilongwe Muslim Youth Charity for the donation.
I'm delighted and happy to receive this gift because it's a highly gift, and you have seen that these are wheelchairs which are going to help to ease the movement of patients between the departments.
Kamuzu Central Hospital is a referral hospital which helps patients from all over the central region.
That's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines again. State House discloses that President Lazarus Chakwera will not publicize contents of the public sector reforms report. Malawi Electoral Commission has called for integrity from those who will be managing the forthcoming by-elections. And bail ruling reserved for 5 Mapeto David Whitehead officials who were arrested over tax evasion allegations. You've been with me, Ronald Mpaso, but you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page Times360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. Stay safe and enjoy the night.